The Vegas Pro timeline isn't just where you edit, it's where you can build some seriously creative composites. By combining video event effects, track compositing, and track grouping, you can create looks that feel completely custom without locking yourself into a complicated setup. In this video, we'll break these tools down, combine them into a flexible workflow, and build something that looks polished, stays fully editable, and can be reused across your production, channel, or brand. I'm Grant K for Boris FX, and let's start building in the timeline. If you've watched the latest Vegas Pro Essentials, I covered basic compositing by layering one video event over another using video event effects. These effects were applied directly to the events, and that created the great-looking result in the timeline. I'll leave the link in the description below. As a short recap, in the timeline, we have two video events on separate video tracks. There is a foreground and a background. To composite the video events together, we go to the Video Effects tab and search for the picture-in-picture effect. Let's drag and drop the effect to the event on the top video track. We get a composed result, but I'd like to clarify that the event effects only influence the content of the event. We could apply loads more filters to the event, but it will never have an awareness of any underlying video tracks. We can drag the opacity in the video event to make it semi-transparent, but that's just the alpha of the particular video event. All the blending and compositing is done with the timeline's video tracks, and you will benefit so much by understanding this workflow. Let's delete all the video effects to get back to where we started. Each video track in Vegas Pro can be considered as a layer of video. Video track 1 is the top layer, and video track 2 is the bottom layer. Each video track also has its own level slider that sets the blend of the video track. You may think this is no different to what we saw earlier with event transparency, but the default composite mode between the video tracks is a standard blending operation. We call it the Source Alpha Compositing mode. To see the compositing mode of a video track, click the More button. Go to the compositing mode and you will see all the track blending modes. As mentioned earlier, all video tracks default to Source Alpha. This is the source in the video event and any accompanying alpha or transparency channel. If there's no alpha or transparency channel present, like in the top video event, the alpha is simply ignored. The other compositing modes should be familiar if you've used other image editing applications. For example, let's select the Add Compositing mode. Looking at the video preview, the pixels on video track 1 are added to the pixels on video track 2. This is why some areas are brighter than others. Adjusting the level of video track 1 decreases its pixel intensity, resulting in a lesser effect. Returning to the compositing modes, you can subtract pixels between video tracks, and you can also multiply pixels between the tracks, and this creates a variety of different results. It's all about math. To learn about these modes, you'll find plenty of external resources with a quick search. For now, let's switch the compositing mode back to the default Source Alpha. This is the basics of track compositing in the Vegas Pro timeline. But there is so much more you can do, as you're about to find out. Blending the two video tracks is straightforward with the compositing modes. But let's say we'd like to use a separate source to limit the areas where the blending takes place. You could switch to the Video Event Effects tab and search for the masking tools. Let's drag the Bezier masking effect onto the top video event. We could open the various masking options and change the shape. We could also set it to curve and draw our own mask. This works in a lot of cases, but here are some considerations. The mask effect is part of the video event. If you wanted to experiment with different video sources, you would need to rebuild your mask every time. You may also want to use generators or other external applications to create the alphas. My recommendation is to create the elements separately and then combine them using the video tracks. Let's delete the Bezier mask off the video event, and we'll switch to the Project Media tab. Using Continuum Title Studio, I've created a design with a range of shapes as the cutout. This could be any of your generators or an imported file with alpha, like PNG or ProRes 4444. We'll start off by right-clicking in the timeline and adding a new video track. Next, we'll grab the generator and drop it onto the new video track. My event length matches up already, but you may need to trim yours to the required duration. So we would like to take this alpha on video track 1 to cut through video track 2 and reveal the background on video track 3. One approach using Track Compositing is to click the More button for the video track 1 and choose the compositing modes. Switch from Source Alpha to Multiply. The white pixels from the cutout are opaque. The black or transparent pixels from the cutout will be transparent. This is multiplied with the tracks below. If the result is what we wanted, then that would be perfect. The cutout on video track 1 is cutting the foreground on video track 2. But where is the background from video track 3? With Track Compositing, applying a compositing mode on a track affects all tracks underneath it and not just the one below. Muting video track 2 with the foreground reveals that the background on video track 3 has also been cut out. So what can we do to only limit the alpha or cutout to specific video tracks? That's where a great workflow comes in, and it has a fun name to go with it. Let's go back one step and switch the compositing mode of the cutout event back to source alpha. In order to limit compositing modes to specific video tracks, we need to group them together. The compositing modes will occur within the group, and the output of the group will be fed onto the other tracks within the timeline. This technique is known as compositing parents and compositing children. Let's find out why. The foreground is the main video that we'd like to affect with the alpha. So we need the foreground to be a parent track and the alpha to be a child track. Let's move the alpha event below the foreground because children tracks are always added below the parent track. To group a track as a child with its parent, click the Tracks More button. In the pop-up menu, choose Make Compositing Child. The track moves into the track above, and now we have a compositing parent and a compositing child combined within a group. The parent track at the far left of the track list is the head of the group. The parent track sends the group output to the rest of the timeline. Very importantly, we also have parent composite modes within this icon. These options control the blending of the group's output to the other tracks below, like the background in this case. By default, it's set to source alpha. Clicking the More button of the parent track, we also find the compositing mode between the parent and the children within the group. This combines the tracks in the group without affecting all the other tracks in the timeline. To combine the foreground on the parent track with the alpha on the child track, choose Multiply. The family of tracks combine within the group, and the output of the group through the parent track combines with the other tracks in the timeline. We have the foreground cut out with the alpha, and it's composed over a background. Grouping video tracks using composite parents and composite children is very handy, and we'll cover a few more advanced techniques in future videos. Before the video concludes, there are a couple of topics which I'd like to cover which show off the flexibility of track compositing. We created our composite in the timeline and it looks great. But one thing that happens often with these situations is the footage needs to be changed or updated. This is super easy in the timeline. Let's trim the foreground roughly halfway to make room for another shot. We'll go back to the Project Media tab and drag another event to the timeline to fill up the gap. I'll quickly trim it to the length of the composite. That's it. Since we're using video tracks to do the compositing and not video event effects, we only need to replace the footage in the timeline and the update is done. This is super handy if you're working on a series and you need to change the content for each episode and keep the look. Finally, all this time, we have been using an alpha that was generated within Vegas Pro, or it could have been an imported file containing an alpha channel. This works absolutely fine, as you've seen throughout this video. However, the other possibility is that we've been given a black and white image with no alpha. This is quite common if we're using an external source or possibly something we've downloaded from a stock website. Let's delete the alpha cutout from the child track and replace it with this black and white video. When scrubbing through the timeline, the foreground is keying through the white parts of the image, but we no longer see the background. Within the group, the foreground is multiplied with the black and white image. However, the overall output of the group has no alpha channel, as there wasn't one to begin with. To create an alpha channel for the cutout, go to the Video Effects tab. Search for a filter called Mask Generator. In the presets, there is a preset called Luminance Mask. Drag this preset and add the effect to the event containing the black and white image. This filter will take the black and white parts of the image and generate an alpha from the brightness values. Scrubbing the timeline, the composite is working correctly, but I'd like the top and bottom of the text to touch the edges of the video frame. Thankfully, all your effects work in combination with the track group. Choose the Video Effects tab once again and search for the picture-in-picture effect. Drag it onto the black and white cutout. Grab the scale slider and scale the image until the edges of the text touch the frame. The best way to learn these tools is to experiment. Once you understand how they work together, the timeline becomes much more than a place to edit. It becomes a place to design and build. If you've liked this or have any further questions about Vegas Pro, please let us know in the comments. I'm Grant K for Boris FX, and see you next time.